Hello everyone, this is a video about what to expect on your driving test. I've been a driving instructor for so many years, it's almost like a script, it's almost exactly the same every time. So I'll go through how you're going to meet the examiner, what's going to be said to you, how you meet in the test centre and blah blah, all in a minute. So the things that you're going to need to do on your driving test is, first of all, you need to show him your licence. You are going to need to read a number plate at 20.5 metres and you must be successful at that to be able to sit your exam. On the day of your exam, you're going to be doing a 20-minute independent drive, which either is a sat-nav, and it's most likely to be a sat-nav because it's around about 4 out of 5 which are chosen to be a sat-nav follow for 20 minutes, or you might be selected and chosen to do the sign follow. If you get a sign follow, you're going to be swapping between signs, so it goes up to a maximum of 20 minutes as well. So on the day of your test, you're also going to be doing one of the manoeuvres that you've learned with your driving instructor. So you're either going to be doing the parallel park, you're going to be doing the bay park, either pull in or reverse in, or you're going to be pulling up on the right to do a straight line reverse. And then if you're selected, you're also going to be doing the controlled stop exercise. As you're driving around, you're going to be pulled up on the left many times. It's probably one of the most checked on exercises that can be. So you're going to be pulled up on the left to do an angle start, which is when you're right behind another car, and then you pull out to show your excellent clutch control. You're going to be pulled up on a hill to make sure that you don't roll backwards and that you've got control to move away properly. And you're also going to be pulled up on what I call a busy, which is when you're pulled up on a busy road and then he looks to see how you pull away. So that's basically what he's looking for on the day of your test. When you go to your test, if you're going with a driving instructor or somebody who's just taking you, you should arrive about 10 minutes early. No earlier than that, otherwise you're going to be told by the other driving instructors or driving examiners to move on, because you need to leave space for the other people to come back. So you're going to arrive about 10 minutes early with your driving licence. You're then going to go into the test centre. Some test centres have a bathroom, some test centres have a tea and coffee facilities, depends on your driving centre. When you go in there, be ready with your driving licence, make sure it's there, make sure that you know what the signature looks like on the back, because you need to sign it exactly the same, and you'll be waiting for your name to be called out. The examiner will come out and he will call the name that's on your driving licence out. Okay, so he'll say the name stated on the driving licence, and then of course you will stand up, walk to him. He will ask you to show him your driving licence. You can't hand it to him in any type of envelope or anything like that. You just have to hand him the card. It does say to take your theory test certificate with you. It isn't essential that you take it with you, as long as you absolutely know that you have booked your test properly and there is confirmation. If you haven't booked it properly, it would be useful for him to see your theory certificate, because then he can look it up online and he can find out more in-depth information about what's happened to your test, etc. But if everything has been booked properly and done properly, you just need the card part of your license with your photograph on. So once he's taken the card off you, he's going to hand you his iPad, because it's all done on an iPad now, and he's going to ask you to read the declaration, which is at the top left of the screen, and it basically says that you've been in the country for a certain amount of days and that your health is stable, and you need to sign that if you agree with the declaration. Very small piece of writing, so if you agree, sign. Obviously you need to sign to be able to sit your exam, so hopefully you can be able to sign that. And then he'll thank you for it. He'll then take a look at the card with your picture on it. He'll ask you to stand back. He'll look at the card because your picture's on it. He'll then look at you and he'll make sure that it is you by doing all of the checks that he needs to do to make sure that there's no impersonation going on. Once that's done, he's going to ask you whether you want your accompanying driver to go with you. So if you've got a driving instructor with you, he's going to ask whether you want your driving instructor to go with you, or if you've got a parent or family member or a friend or anyone like that, you can have the choice to take them as long as they're over 16 years old. Once you've said yes or no to that, you're either going to go outside with your driving instructor or accompanying driver, or you're going to go out on your own. At this point, If they do come with you, they're going to be sat behind you, by the way. At this point, as you're driving out, he will introduce himself, or she will introduce herself to you, her name, his name, and then they will say to you, what would you like to be called today? So at this point, you can shorten your name to whatever you want it to be. I'm Ros, full name Rosalind. So I'm going to say at this point, I'd like you to call me Ros, right? Something here. I'm being shown something. Yeah, so you're going to be asked, do you want... What would you like to be called today? Sometimes people ask to be called their middle name, which is always a complete shock to me, because I've known somebody as Anna and then like, oh, I'd like you to call me Helen today, which always really shocks me. Anyway, as you go up to the car, if you have been selected to do a show me, tell me question, which is either underneath the bonnet or inside the car, this is when you're going to now find out. He will say to you, I'd like you to open the bonnet, and you'll do that because you've been shown by your driving instructor. And you'll open that, and then you'll answer the show me, tell me question under the bonnet, or you will at this point get into the car and wait for further instructions. He will tell you not to turn the car on. He will tell you not to turn the engine on when you get into the car. When you're sat in the car, you may notice that the examiner walks around the car to check if the car is healthy. If you are taking your own car, all of the tyres have to be 1.6 mil of tread, and they have to be healthy. Everything about the car has to be healthy before you drive off, of course. So he's going to do safety checks of walking around the car to make sure it's okay. And then he'll get into the car. If you're taking your driving instructor's car at this stage, he's going to check all the details of the driving instructor badge, so because everything has to be recorded. So if your driving instructor has allowed you to go to test because they think you're brilliant, take it as a compliment, because your test, pass or fail, gets recorded on their whole file, and if they have too many fails, they're going to have to do their own exams. So please know that if we have sent you to your driving test, we believe in you. We think you're brilliant. Go and get that license. Yeah, we do believe. So he's going to look at that. Then, if you haven't already done your show me, tell me question because of the bonnet, he will then ask you to do one of the show me, tell me questions. So he'll say, how would you know if your handbrake has got excessive wear on it, or something like that? Your parking brake has got excessive wear on it, or how do you know if your indicators are working properly, or whatever. Just look up those questions if you don't know what I'm talking about, or show me, tell me inside the car. At this point, he'll get himself comfortable. He's going to put his mirror in the right place. He's going to sort his chair out. And if he has brought a sat-nav with him, he's probably going to set up the sat-nav. He's going to put it on the front of the front of the car there, so you can see it. He will ask you whether you can see it properly, and hopefully you'll be able to say yes. Once that's all started, not the sat-nav, once that's all been put down, he'll say, would you like me to tell you about the test? And you'll say yes, most likely. He then has a very standard, generic piece of script that he's learnt over and over and over again. The way that he speaks to you now is robotic, because he's said it 10,000 million times, and it is a standard way of talking to you. I don't know it off by heart, but it is very similar to this. I'd like you to follow the road ahead at all times unless road markings or signs say otherwise. If I'd like you to turn left or right, if I'd like you to turn left or right, I will tell you in good time. You will be doing one of the manoeuvres that you've been learning with your instructor, and we are going to do an independent drive for about 20 minutes. If we have got time, we'll be doing the controlled stop exercise. And it's like that-ish. All right, so the sat-nav doesn't necessarily start right at the beginning. It could be, he could set it like immediately, or as you're driving down the road later on in the test, when he asks you to pull up on the left, he may start your independent sat-nav drive if you have been selected for sat-nav, which is more likely than the signs. If it's the signs, he'll pull you up on the left, and then he'll say, follow the signs for Gloucester, and then when you're driving, he'll then swap to another sign. When you're driving around, he is going to say things like, I'd like you to pull up in a safe and convenient place. If he says those words, don't pull up anywhere that you wouldn't be able to leave your car for 2 weeks, all right? Safe, convenient and legal place. If he says to you, I'd like you to pull up behind the car, please don't worry about the driveway or the line, he's not trying to trick you. He's got a plan for whatever he's doing. Perhaps it's the angle start, perhaps he's trying to get you to go behind a car so you can pull out and show him all of the really good clutch control that you've got. All right. When you're driving around, it might be that the examiner gives you a generic conversation, very basic. If it wasn't your test today, what would you be doing? You might hear this question when you're driving along, and this is your opportunity to say, I'd be at school, or I'd be at work, or I'd be at home with my children, or whatever it is that you do in your spare time. At this stage, I do say to my students, if you want to interact with him, that's fine. But it is a generic question that you've just been asked. All right, he asks everybody. You may hear it, you might not hear it. You may be on a nice, long, straight, hardly any hazard road when you get this question. If you get it, you can just say, I'd be at school. And then stop talking and then continue with what you're doing, concentrate, right? If you enter a conversation with him at this stage and you talk much more than usual, or you guys enter some kind of conversation, it might be that when the driving in front of you gets more difficult, the examiner will stop talking. At this stage, he's not trying to be unkind, but he is trying to allow you to concentrate so you can concentrate on whatever is happening in front of you, meeting traffic or a difficult roundabout or stuff. Because at the end of the day, you're there to pass your test, not have a conversation with him. I've been a driving instructor for a very long time. It does not matter how friendly you are to him. I'm sorry to say, if you are really super kind to him and you do a serious fault or a dangerous fault, you're not going to get away with it. So please choose wisely about how much of a conversation you enter with him, because at the end of the day, if you need your focus and your thoughts about driving, please have that in your head to use that for yourself. All right. When you're driving around, like I say, you're going to be doing a maneuver on the driving test route that you've been selected. I don't know what that is. There's like 12 routes, I think, where I work. I don't know what it is until you've been selected for it. It will just say test route 12 or test route 1 or test route 4. And some of those tests have kind of more likely maneuvers, like you'll drive past Sainsbury's, so you're going to get the Bay Park, or you'll drive past some kind of really quiet place for you to do the parallel park. But it can change, so depending on the test route. Also, they do have favourite roads to do the controlled stop exercise as well, normally long straight ones, so the examiner can see everything around and he knows that it's totally safe for you to do the manoeuvre. When you drive back to the test centre, try not to let your guard down until the very end. Keep focused, all right? If you do get any fast roads on your drive, he is trying to see whether you are able and capable to use the gears and able and capable to drive quickly. So make sure that if it's safe to do so, and it's totally okay, that you are making progress. Make progress, right? So if it is totally safe to do so, I would recommend that you try and get to 45 on a 60-mile-an-hour road. Obviously, if there is hazards about, it's too bendy, raining, puddles, potholes, other cars, bikes, pedestrians, horses, of course, don't go quickly. But if it is long, straight, clear, yeah, he is testing to see whether you can drive fast. So all roads have their own things on it. So when you get back to the driving test centre and you've turned the car off, he will then say, thank you, I'm going to just have a moment to finish my test report. At this stage, he is going to be silent and he's going to use his iPad to like mark and figure it all out. He's going to pack away his sat nav, and it feels like the longest time of your life, right? At this stage, he will then make sure that it's all correct and perfect. He'll press the button, and then the choice of whether you pass or fail will come up onto the screen. He will then deliver the news to you and you'll get the news straight away. I hope it's a pass, guys. As long as your driving instructor has put you forward, you should feel very confident about your skills. All right, just go for it. I know people get nervous, but guys, seriously, if your instructor has put you forward for this, just go for it. You know, your instructor's under a trigger system. You really wouldn't be there unless you were good. So go for it. All right, I wish you all the luck. I hope that makes total sense about what's going to happen on your day of your test. And yeah, good luck. I really hope you pass.